Hey y'all, it's Poseidon, and we're here with episode 10 of the Poseidcast. We have done it. We have reached double digits, number 10. And since we have done 10 episodes, that means we have done more episodes than 90% of podcasts. Not sure how true that stat is, but I heard it one time and I'm sticking to it. So that means we are in a top 10 percentile of amount of episodes recorded. So that's really cool. I'm excited. I've been staying consistent with this and it's going to keep doing it. So yeah, let's get into some of the topics that we have over here. We're going to be talking about LCQ, we're going to be talking about Final Combat, just generally some of my goals in the community and kind of like why I do what I do. And then some patch speculation, some ideas of what this patch is going to be, because we're likely going to get one soon since Final Combat's over. They mentioned that they weren't going to do anything big, and then they reverted Cyrax back on accident, or maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. But I'm assuming that since we're past Final Combat and we're done with Season 1, we're going to get a pretty decent-sized patch coming up. So we're going to speculate on what we could expect to see there. So LCQ, I'll kind of go into it. So LCQ was a really cool event. It was in Toronto, which is actually relatively close to me, so I was able to drive up there, carpool with a few people that were also from upstate New York. Shout out to Sunio and Kerbo. I traveled with them, and we get to the event, and it's on the strip in Toronto, so that is really cool. It's in a really nice area, so there's kind of stuff to do around the venue. So a lot of stuff to do around the area of Toronto. And yeah, so it was cool. So you get there and you check in and stuff. And what was really cool about this event is it was like a major level event, like in terms of the size of the tournament. However, it was relatively cheap compared to it. Like you got your registration covered the event for LCQ, and then it also gave you a pass to Final Combat, as you can see here. So this is what you got when you registered, and it gave you the pass to Final Combat as well as to play in the event. And it's cheaper than most majors. Most majors, the reg fee is $100, at least typically. And then the event for the game generally ends up being expensive. But not only did you get this, we also got this limited edition Scorpion Funko. I'm not really a collector of these, but it's pretty cool. It's supposedly limited edition golden Scorpion. Pretty cool. A lot of people were excited about that. And then you also got one of these. So you got a random character. So I ended up getting Joker I did a couple trades. So I ended up trading. I started off with Liu Kang. I traded my Liu Kang for a Kotal one, and then I traded my Kotal one for a Joker one. So I was wheeling, I was dealing, and I ended up getting the Joker one. Joker was my main in K11, so I was very excited to get that. And you got a random character with it. So it was pretty cool just based off that. So I'm going to go over and kind of talk about how I did, and I'll talk about generally how LCQ went in general. So I didn't do too great. My first match was actually against a Garrus main named Michael Seraphin, who ended up going on a run himself. I'll talk about that in a second. I ended up losing a 3-2 last round. Very, very close set. He's a very, very good player, and it was unfortunate that we had to play round 1. I ended up going to losers. I won a couple losers matches. Then I had to play Lego, another really good Garrus player. And I ended up losing that 3-2 as well last round again. And there my tournament is over. I'm out of 33rd. Not nearly the placement I wanted. Stinks. Is what it is, though. Sometimes you just bust her out. But like I said, we were in the Toronto area, so kind of left and walked around a little bit. It was pretty nice. But I'll talk about some key runs I had noticed about the tournament. So the guy playing Michael Seraphin ended up going on a run. He beat me. Then he went on beat competitor. Then he went and had a game 5 last round set against King Gambler, almost winning, dropping a combo at the end. Ended up losing that set, goes to losers, wins the set, and then plays Ludi, beats Ludi, reverse 3-0, and then ends up losing to Axstar to get 9th place. So a pretty impressive statement run for Michael Seraphin. He, obviously did really good Garrus player. Ended up playing in SRS last night and getting top 8. So very, very impressive stuff from him. He's showing up to be a really, really good player and really changing how, what people think about Garrus. The way I think about Garrus, I thought Garrus was bad, but there's 3 in top 13. So, anyway, let's talk about some other runs. So, Mari ended up making top 8 losers. Someone who's been, an up-and-comer in the scene, been doing super well, playing multiple characters. His run, he goes to winners finals of his pool, plays Gur, has a close game 5 set with Gur. Gur ends up clutching it out yet again. We'll talk about Gur's run in a second, but Gur was just clutching out set after set, and it was just crazy. But Mari goes to losers. He has to fight Kerbo. Round 1 of losers, beats Kerbo. Kerbo's such a hard out because Kerbo's just a legend, of the game. Has so much competitive XP. He's not going to get flustered or nervous in the moment. And Mari was able to win that set. Then goes on to fight Hercules, a Kenshi loyalist. And people say Mari's carried by Kenshi, but then goes in and beats a Kenshi, a loyalist main. So can't really say too much, Mari's character or whatever. And he was playing multiple characters throughout the tournament as well. Goes on to fight Hayate and has an absolutely crazy Game 5 last round set against Hayate. Ends up, playing Chang the first 4 games, switches to Kenshi Striker. Game 5 and able to get the clutch with the Kenshi Striker. And ends up making top 8. He ends up losing top 8 right away, but still a very impressive run and someone we need to be looking out for. We'll go over and talk about Gur. Gur had a really crazy run. And what was crazy about Gur's run is that in pools, to even make it to the set against Mari, the winner's final set, he had to play Zanzun. And Zanzun and Gur, it was a Game 5 last round set where Zanzun actually had 1 or 2 combo drops in that round that maybe would have closed out the set, but it was 50% Zanzun to 10% Gur. Gur ends up clawing it all the way back, clutching it out and getting the set. It was crazy. And then, so Gur clutches that against Mari, goes to play Sunio, beats Peacemaker with Garrus, crazy stuff, makes a winner's side top 8, ends up beating Agamotto, loses to Guy Exceptional, beats Kakoi with another Peacemaker, beats 3 Peacemakers with Garrus, goes to Grand Finals, resets the bracket against Guy Exceptional's Insane Ashra, and then ends up losing, and Guy Exceptional ends up making Final Combat, winning LCQ. So that was very good stuff from Gigi. Oh, absolute tear of a run. He didn't lose a set after top 16, from top 16 till I think Grands, and then he ended up getting a reset by Gur. He lost 1 game, I think, in pools to Wani and Lauer, and that was it. Very impressive. Just such an aggressive Ashra style with Chameleon, doing the combos into the lift. Well, doing combos into her down forward 3 lift, and then would do Chameleon, so you combo extend, and then if you do a single button into it, and if it hits, then you get the combo extender. If it doesn't, then you get out of there and you're safe. And she has so many armor options and stuff like that, combo extending options and stuff. He was just getting crazy damage, crazy cool, not using his meter when he didn't need to. It was just really, really cool to watch, and he did an amazing job. LCQ is basically a major. And a lot of these players from Brazil came out not exceptional, but Conqueror made top 8, Agamotto I made top 8. Those 3, right? Those are the only 3, because then you had Killer Shinnok and Zeus, who were already in Final Combat. So basically everyone came from Brazil. I mean, unless I'm missing someone, but those 3 main players showed up and just did amazing. All made top 8, 2 winner side, and Conqueror only losing the mirror Game 5 to Hayate. Very, very really good stuff. Akstar came from Europe, did absolutely amazing. Ended up getting, I think, 5th place, losing to, I think, Agamotto in losers quarterfinals to get 5th place, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken, but it was a great run. Pepper, please don't do this to me. I'm sorry, guys. She ended up deleting my previous. I recorded this whole thing, and then she ended up deleting it on accident because she just steps all over the place. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to put you down, Pepper. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to interrupt. Okay, but so that was basically LCQ. Shout out to all the players that went out there. I said it was a great event. It was a lot of fun. Didn't get the placement I wanted. We move on. I'm gonna try to make it to Evo, and we'll see what happens. But that is, let's say, that's the end of LCQ. Maybe I'll talk more about some other people's runs, but overall, Gambler was the favorite. He ended up getting 5th place, losing to Kakoi after losing to Agamotto in winner's side. He was the favorite to win it, and I think a lot of people wanted him to win. It was unfortunate Gambler didn't get a chance to play in Final Combat. He definitely put on an absolute show this season. Just going to these events and doing super well, getting basically nothing worse than 9th place at any major Mortal Kombat 1 tournament. Winning DreamHack Dallas. Just he's an insane player, and it'll be cool to see how he does in season 2. Hopefully, we get a season 2. Okay, so I'm going to go over and talk about Final Kombat. So Final Kombat is, the following day on Saturday, and it starts off with pool play. You have Pool A, just insanely stacked. So you have Sonic Fox, who just goes on an absolute tear. They only lose a single game, I think, or maybe lose 2 games in pools. And then so they're 4-0 there. They get the 1 seed in the pool. Then you have Faisal, who goes 3-1 in the pool, beats Tekken Master Game 5 last round. And he ends up moving on. Tekken Master doesn't even make it to day 2. Crazy, because Tekken Master, incredibly strong player, won UFA, dominated the Middle East region. Didn't actually, because Faisal actually won the Middle East top 8 qualifier for Final Kombat. So the winner gets into Final Kombat. He ended up winning that over Tekken Master. So he kind of at least recently had the head-to-head in tournament play. But that was still crazy. Another crazy thing is Soul's Clue ended up beating Killer Genak. It was a set that so both those players lost to the other players in the pool. But Soul's Clue able to get that win in Killer Genak. Killer Genak, like I said, a amazing player. Combo breaker champion. Evo finalist, qualified through points recently, just top 8'd combo breaker for Mortal Kombat 1. Just an insanely talented player. So able to get that win. Really said, like I said, he was such a question mark because we didn't know really how strong the Oceanic regions, because they're not really able to interact with the other regions because they're just so far away, like the big, South America, EU, North America. It's very hard for them to interact with them unless they come out to these big tournaments. So and the only person you really see that has done that that is at a really, really insanely high level, professional level, is Waz. So it was cool to see someone else come out here and see what they did, and Soul School definitely put on a show. It was really, really cool to see. So then we're gonna go over to Pool B, and Pool B was that was the Nicolas, Javier, Wise Gemini, Chocolate, and Video Games Yo pool. First set right away, Wise comes out in 3-0's Javier. That was a huge statement. Javier, one of the favorites, probably the second seed in the pool, qualified through points. Wise came out and just, got the 3-0, very crazy with the Havoc. It was really, really cool to see. Definitely, I don't want to say an upset, because I think Wise is with that win, sort of hey, I really am an elite player in this game. Obviously, he was able to get in Final Kombat, so that should say it all. But it was just that was very, very interesting. And then Javier ends up losing to Nicolas as well, so he basically doesn't make it out of the pool. He ends up beating Chocolate and VGY. So he ends up going 2-2. VGY with a loss beats Wise and Chocolate. Chocolate Game 5. Chocolate played super good, although they didn't get a win. They had a few Game 5 sets and really showed that they are a very good player and can hang with some of the best players in the scene. So shout out to him, because he was able to qualify through the Liga Latina Sur region. Mainly because Nicolas and Scorpion Fox both qualified through points. So Nicolas won. Scorpion Fox got second in the top 8 tournament to see who makes Final Kombat. But they both qualified through points, so it would go to third, and the third guy couldn't make it, Shigemaru. So it ended up going to 4th place, which was Chocolate, and Chocolate showed that he's a super good player and definitely should be we should be on the lookout for him in future Mortal Kombat tournaments, especially in the South America region. And so Chocolate goes 0-4. Wise, I think, won against Javier, won against Javier, won against Chocolate, lost to VGY, lost to Nicolas. VGY ends up beating Nicolas, so he lost to Javier, beats Nicolas, so VGY is able to move on. So Nicolas, VGY both 3-1, better records than the other 3, so they move on to the next day. That pool was really interesting. VGY really clutched up to get that set over Nicolas. So the Pool C, that is the Ninja Killer, Unjust, Zeus, Brosive, and why can't I remember this? Zeus, Brosive, and Macaron. Yeah, so that was that pool. Ninja goes 4-0, has a game 5 against Unjust, ends up reverse 3-0ing him in the Peacemaker Mirror. Really clutched up, good stuff from him. Unjust, with that game 5 against Ninja, seemed like he had a ton of momentum, goes out and loses to Zeus. And Zeus is obviously a very strong player, because we saw just from LCQ in general that Brazil is probably the second best country when it comes to Mortal Kombat, of second best country in the world besides America, besides North America's continent, besides United States. Brazil is the second best region probably for Mortal Kombat, and second best country, I should say. Let me use that terminology. Because people would be like, oh, what about Europe? Well, I was like, well, I'm saying country. Europe is an entire continent. So in terms of just single country, Brazil, outside of not North America, the United States is the second best country for MK. He won that region. He beat players like Killer Jinna, Conqueror, Agamotto I, Guy Exceptional, Gustavo Page, and outlasted all of them and ended up qualifying through the Brazil region. So, it made Killer Jinna have to go to Combo Breaker to qualify. You had people like, so Guy Exceptional went to LCQ, ended up winning it. Conqueror and Agamotto I will also LCQ, both top 8'd. But weren't able to get into Final Combat. But that just shows how strong this player is. So he was able to beat Unjust 3-2. So it basically came down to Broseph has to play Zeus, and because of that game 5 that Unjust played with Ninja, Unjust had the tiebreaker. So if Broseph beats Zeus, Unjust moves on to the next round despite being 2-2 because there's no one else who has a better than 2-2 record in the pool. So Broseph and them play. Broseph goes to 2-0. Zeus brings it all the way back to a game 5, but Broseph is able to clutch it out game 5. So that allows Mighty Unjust to move on to the next day. And that's kind of a little bit of a flaw with pool play, and we'll get into that in the next pool because that's where like the major thing happened. But like the fact that it's like, oh, 2 people play and like one person's essentially playing for the future of someone else when they have nothing to gain or lose. Like Broseph wasn't going to move on, but Zeus, if he won, was going to move on. And if Broseph wins, then Unjust moves on. So that's like an interesting thing that can happen with pools. And it's like, it is what it is. And some people don't have a problem with it. That's just my personal problem with it. And the bigger problem happens in the next pool, like I'll explain. So Unjust moves on, so does Ninja Killer. So going on to pool, the fourth pool, Pool D, you have Scorpion Prox, Connie Mani, Zombat, Mike Liu, who replaced Illuminati. Illuminati wasn't able to make it, and the winner of LCQ, Guy Exceptional. Sorry if I keep saying Guy. I'm used to saying Guy for years. Turns out it's Guy. So they end up, they play their pool, and Connie Mani ends up beating Zombat, which ends up being huge, 3-2. Then Connie Mani loses to Scorpion Pox 3-0, and Connie Mani beats Guy Exceptional and Mike Liu. So he's 3-1. Scorpion Pox is 3-0. Still has to fight Zombat. Zombat is 2-1, only losing to Connie, beating Mike Liu and Guy Exceptional. So it comes down to if Combat wins, there's 3 people that are 3-1 in the pool, which means only 2 can move on. And because of game differential, because Scorpion Prox beat Connie Mani 3-0, Connie didn't get any games from the differential. So if Zombat just wins, he has a better differential and is going to move on to the next round. And Scorpion Prox at this point, because of his differential is so good, already secured the 1 seed. So even if he loses 3-0 to Combat or Zombat, then he still moves on to the next round with the 1 seed. When Combat just needs to win, he moves on, and if Scorpion Prox wins, then Connie Mani moves on. So it's like it's 2 different situations where it comes down to like the last set, and like people are playing for other people. So like if Scorpion Prox wins, then Connie Mani moves on. Zombat wins, then Zombat moves on. Zombat ends up winning 3-1 in the cage mirror, and Connie Mani goes home with 3-1. So it's interesting, Connie Mani gets eliminated with a 3-1 record, while Unjust gets to move on with the 2-2 record. I'm a big Unjust fan, so happens, but it's an unfortunate part of pool play, just in my opinion. I feel like if it comes down to that and there's a tie with record, they should just do like a 1-2 round robin or 1-2 head to head. If it comes down to that, if it's just like it comes down to record, because it's like if you lose 3-0 or 3-2, like generally it's considered the same thing. But some people, game differential sometimes, it does matter. Generally, it doesn't. But in this situation, it did, and I kind of don't like it. But that's just my opinion. It doesn't mean you have to agree. Just the way that I think it should run. Like I said, my opinion. Okay, so then we go to top 8 on Sunday. We have VGY versus Sonic Fox. Sonic Fox gets a clean 3-0, moves on to winners semifinals, and VGY goes to losers. We have Scorpion Prox versus Unjust. Unjust wins 3-0 with the Peacemaker over the Johnny. Unjust is playing super good. Moves on to winners semifinals to fight Sonic. Scorpion Prox goes down to losers to fight VGY. Nicholas plays Faisal game 5 set, but Nicholas able to clutch it out game 5. And then we had Ninja Killer versus Zombat, another game 5 set. Zombat ends up going up 2-1, but Ninja Killer, classic Ninja Killer fashion, clutches up and wins the set game 5. So Zombat goes down to losers to fight Faisal. So Scorpion Prox plays BGY, ends up clutching that out game 5. Switches to Baraka, ends up getting some clutch plays at the end to clutch it out game 4. Super clutch game 5. He kind of ran away with it. And then Zombat versus Faisal. Faisal ends up winning that set. I don't remember. I think it was game 5. Yeah. Zombat ends up switching to General Shao game 5. Missed a couple inputs that costed him big and wasn't able to clutch up and ends up getting eliminated at 7th place. So very good stuff. Made a top 8 final combat. And then winner's side, Unjust for Sonic. Sonic ends up winning a pretty clean set. I think 3-0 over Unjust after Unjust beat him or them at Combo Breaker. Sonic Fox got the run back in losers. So that was kind of like the run back of the run back. Sonic clutches up, shows that still a very, very elite player despite playing in other games and stuff, despite literally being the Skullgirls world champion like a month before. Just showing that if they put in the time, they put in a bunch of time. If there's a tournament they have a couple weeks to prep for, they can win even if they're not really even playing the game that much. I'm sure they are, but just insane. Ninja plays Nicholas, ends up winning that, I think 3-2 or maybe 3-1. But Ninja moves on. Nicholas goes to losers. So what happens is Unjust has to play Faisal. They play as Peacemaker Mirror. Pretty sure it was 3-1, but Faisal ends up winning that with the Peacemaker Kano. And then Nicholas has to play Scorpion Prox. And what was so interesting about this set is the fact that they have never played like a serious loser set before. Like they've always played in like winners finals or grand finals when it was like they couldn't one of them had to lose, you know what I mean? Like they couldn't go on any further in the tournament without having to fight each other. So it was interesting that they had to play, this early in a loser side match, but they still didn't really go their mains. It wasn't like a Johnny Mirror. It was a Raiden versus Rain, and Nicholas won 3-1 with the Rain. So it was really interesting to see them play that, but see they didn't go their mains. Maybe they probably still tried really hard and probably still wanted to win against each other, but at the end of the day, they didn't play their mains. They didn't try their absolute hardest. Because it's not like we saw those characters that all but out of them before that particular set. So Nicholas goes on, fights Faisal, ends up beating Faisal, I think 3-1. Faisal tries a Peacemaker, doesn't work, goes to the Katana and not able to clutch it out. And then Ninja plays Sonic. Sonic ends up winning that over Ninja 3-0. Close set. Crazy clutch play from Sonic at the end of game 3 to clutch out the set. Wins 3-0. Goes to Grands. Ninja goes to Losers Finals. Nicholas beat Faisal. So Nicholas moves on. And then him and Nicholas and Ninja play insane game 5 last set. Ninja goes Peacemaker for the first 4 games. Game 5 switches to Liu Kang. Dominant first round. Second round goes to Nicholas. Then at the end, Ninja has a lead. Drops a conversion. Nicholas has a speck of health left. Gets an opening. Then gets an overhead Molina ball roll read on his wake up. Something that he didn't do probably the entire weekend. Gets Ninja, and they ends up moving on to grand finals. Play Sonic Fox. They have a 3-2 set. A little bit of technical difficulties after like the game 3. A little bit of a pause may have given Nicholas a little momentum, but he's able to clutch up. And then the second set, it's all Sonic Fox. Sonic Fox ends up winning final combat. Just absolutely insane, showing that if they have a couple of weeks to prep, they can win any tournament, any given day. Biggest tournament of the year. Just absolutely insane. Like I said, a couple weeks before winning the Skullgirls World Championship. Absolutely insane talent. The king of MK. Can't really say anything more about that. But overall, really cool tournament. It's going to be interesting to see. We'll talk about this in the patch speculation, but see how the game goes, because there was a lot of Johnny Peacemaker at this tournament. But yeah, just overall very cool experience, very fun to watch. I went to LCQ. Because I live so close, I ended up driving back. So I watched Final Combat from home. It's nice because and I guess this kind of goes with my goals, kind of in a way. Well, it's like a slight transition to the next topic. But because I live so close and I didn't have to spend money on a hotel, and since I carpooled, I only had to spend money on the gas to get to like back and forth from Buffalo, which isn't like too far. So I ended up saving a decent amount of money, you know, not staying the night, not watching Final Combat in person, not having to pay for a hotel. And that's something that helps me, you know, get to more tournaments. As you see, I travel a decent amount, but, you know, I'm also like a working adult. So like, you know, I can't always stay and enjoy all, like have it be like a vacation, you know what I mean? Sometimes I got to be more practical about it. But because I do that, I'm able to go to more events. And because, you know, I currently work remote, I can like, you know, a tournament happens on Friday, Saturday, I can go to the tournament, you know, and I don't even have to take a day off. I just have Friday, Saturday off. I work Sunday. You know, I leave after work on Thursday, get to the tournament, do Friday, Saturday, head back Saturday night, back home Sunday to work. And that way I don't even have to take, you know, any PTO days or time off or have to miss out on money in a paycheck. And that's something that's something that I've talked to some other people about and would be nice for these major tournaments is if they could like have their schedules out a little bit beforehand, because usually it's like you have to register and then it's like, oh, you have to take off Thursday for travel, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the tournament, Monday to travel back home. So like you end up only being able to work 3 days that week at best, and that's if your job is like super optimal about it. And then you have to take 2 days off basically every tournament at least. Or 3 days off, you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the following Monday. So you have to take 3 days off. When realistically, you know, it's like, hey, this tournament is just going to be Saturday, Sunday, and like Sunday's top 8, so everything happens Saturday. You could like just, like I said, leave after work Thursday night, get there Friday, you know, have a day, play Saturday, leave Saturday night, get home for work Sunday, and you know what I mean, like you don't even need to take time off, and that way people could go to more events. And like I've heard the argument that like you should treat it like a vacation, but like not everyone has it like that, and I would rather be able to go to more tournaments than I would, because I just, you know, generally enjoy competing, than I would you know, rather like treat it like a vacation and go to like 3 or 4 tournaments a year or maybe less, and then, you know, just take those 3 days off and, you know, enjoy the city and stuff like that, because it's fun to do that, and I do enjoy doing that, and I have done that, and I want to do that more. But you know what I mean, like kind of like at this tournament I was able to go to a major level tournament and I only needed to spend a day. I didn't even need to take like a lot of time off. I didn't need to take any time off. I was still able to work 5 days that week and get home with plenty of time and have a full weekend day off, you know, with my girlfriend and stuff. So we'll see. But this kind of transitions to what I talk about, like my personal goals with all this and why I do everything that I do, because I travel to a decent amount of tournaments. Like I'll go to tournaments like on weekends and stuff like that. And generally my biggest thing in terms of like I enjoy competing, and I generally just want to grow the scene as much as I can. And that's why, like, you know, I do the events and stuff like that, and they're not like as you know, they're not really like crazy profitable. A lot of thing is just like having it fund itself, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to do. Like I would love for everything that I do between like the content and the tournaments and stuff, and any profit that I make, if I'm able to just have that fund me being able to go to tournaments. Like I'm not trying to make some sort of big career out of this. Like it would be cool, like if that ended up happening and I made a decent amount of money, you know, awesome, sweet, you know, I'm not going to complain about it. But generally, I just want it to essentially fuel itself. And in that way, like, you know, if I go to tournaments to do well and make money. So that's why it's like, it's cool to have locals, like people have their locals, because for a time it was helpful, because like until the first couple months of MK, we had a local near me. So I would go and I would, you know, I won most of the time. I would win, I would make some money, and then that money would be used to go to tournaments. I was able to go to like NAC and like Combo Breaker and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the local dried up a little bit. And I haven't been doing great or good enough in online tournaments. A lot of times, like maybe top 3 or even top 2 or 1 gets paid out for a tournament. And I haven't been doing too great in online tournaments, so haven't been able to make a ton of money playing online. And that way, it's like hard to get a tournament. So Evo is kind of like in the balance right now. I've had a few personal things I've talked previously about I don't need to dive into. But yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I can cook. I'm gonna get on a streaming schedule. So my plan is to stream Monday through Thursday. Today's, you know, Monday, so I wasn't able to get a stream. I tweeted about it, but going on Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. So I'll stream before work, because I normally work at 11. So I'll stream just right until I work, and then and I think that'll help, you know, eventually stay consistent with streams and be on a schedule, so people know like, oh, it's this time Poseidon's going to be live. I know it's a bit early. But I think that'll be helpful, and it really works with my schedule. So I'm going to be doing that for the future. So that's part of my goal, so that can help me potentially grow in the community, and something that will help me get content out, and I can stay like consistent with it rather than like just kind of running like with the chicken with my head cut off, trying to get all this stuff done between the TOing, running events, running the Injustice 2 tournaments, running Share Review Sundays, or helping run that, making YouTube videos for my personal channel and Share Review TV, and other goals. We actually have talked about something with Share Review TV that we're potentially going to be expanding on, so that'll be really cool. We'll definitely talk about that more in the future, but it's potentially a different game. We have talked about expanding into other games, so that'll be cool to see, and it'll be fun. And like I said, like I'm just trying to like have it like fuel itself, and like if I can make like $100 or $200 from tournaments online in a month, and then, which is very realistic for really good players. I'm not fantastic right now. I mean, I just got 33rd LCQ, so I can't really talk about being amazing or being good enough to win tournaments. But if I could do that and then make like 100 or 200 from streaming in YouTube, and then like 100 or 200 from like TOing or whatever, then like that's enough money to get to a tournament. You know what I mean? I use that money to get to a tournament, and then I'm able to work it out, that I don't really even need to miss a day of work, and it kind of just all kind of fuels itself. And that's kind of like my big overarching goal, because it would probably be, if I really was looking to like make a profit and like have this be my career, it would be, it would be smarter to just stay home, restream big tournaments, don't spend money on travel, just, stay really consistent to a stream schedule, don't really bother playing in tournaments, because that's not always the best content. Like, you can get pretty good content from tournaments, but like, what I mean? Like, it would be more, beneficial, more bang for my buck just to stay home and stream more and make YouTube content than it would be to go to tournaments. But I do genuinely love that. And I said, like, the big overarching goal for me, not only to make it self-sustaining so I can go to more stuff and do more for other people in the community, but to also like grow the community as a whole. Like, I would love, when I'm like 40, 50 years old, and I turn on like something like a TV channel or like ESPN, and it's like Street Fighter World Finals for like Street Fighter 8. And what I mean, and people are playing for like a couple $1 million, and people are signed to like big contracts, obviously, that to like big teams. Obviously, that's a big goal, and who knows, and people think that people who play like video games and like the esports community don't deserve it, but generally, that's what I want to do. I want to grow that, but with a particular focus on the FGC, with a particular focus on MK, finding that niche, and hopefully maybe we can expand more. But that's generally a big goal for me personally, for the competitive side, is to have it sustain itself, and from my TOing and side, just grow the community as much as I can, and that's what I would really love to do. Yeah, that's just me. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk too much about myself in these, but I'm just recording and with myself, so sometimes that's all I can talk about. All right, but that's it in terms of my goals. But let's go to number fourth topic. That's patch speculation. So if you were watching Final Kombat this weekend, or even LCQ, there's a lot of characters that really stuck out. So Final Kombat, obvious, Johnny, Peacemaker were the two most popular characters. Peacemaker probably the most popular, and they're looking like top two, and people are saying like, oh, they're in a tier of their own. They might be. I'm assuming that Peacemaker will probably get nerfed in some way. Johnny might, but they just recently nerfed Johnny, and like I don't know what they could really do other than maybe take away some of his damage, which I don't think will be good, or give him less health. What I mean? I think like the health is it's a little bit of a lazy way to nerf a character, but I guess it's like easier than like being like, oh, well, you do too much, and then you have like the Raiden loyalist or a pistol, like, this character got nerfed way too hard. I mean? So that could happen with Peacemaker or Johnny, and then all of a sudden the character, people don't play the character anymore because the character's not good. So it's hard, but I'm assuming that those characters are going to get nerfs. I don't like to touch too much on the particulars of like what the nerf is going to be, and because it's like, I'm not a game developer. I didn't even know how to balance or code it, so it's like, is what it is. It should, I feel like those characters are going to touch Chameleon, best cameo, probably, even with the Cyrax being reverted. I don't think we even had a Cyrax in top 8. I don't think we saw a Maybe we did. I think at Raiden Cyrax, we actually saw that when Scorpion Procs, when it was kind of like their meme set. So I don't know. I think Skyrex probably will get reverted back, but I don't know if he really is a big deal. Is a big deal because, like I said, Chameleon kind of dominated. Johnny Chameleon, Peacemaker, Chameleon was crazy, and then it's also like Peacemaker, Kano, Baraka, Kano. Kano's just really good. It's kind of like the new striker. You're able to keep stuff safe, especially if you have like overhead enders like Baraka does, or if you have mix up with like a, you can do like torpedo into knives or something like that, or like do the anti-gravity into knives because it's overhead, so then you get the knives and bada bing, and they still have to take the chip. But I don't think Kano is a big problem at all. So probably those big three are Peacemaker, Johnny, Chameleon. We saw a lot of Kenshi at LCQ. Conqueror, Hayate got 9th, Conqueror top 8, Hagamoto I top 8, Mari didn't fully play Kenshi, but top 8, Hercules 13th. I'm not sure. There's probably other Kenshis there, but Kenshi kind of made some pretty decent waves at LCQ. From what I hear, some inside potentially information is that Kenshi is going to receive a big nerf in this upcoming patch. Not 100% sure how true that is, but from what I hear, that is what's going to happen. So we shall see. But those three characters are looking like they're probably going to receive some sort of nerf, as well as Chameleon. It'll be cool to see some cameo buffs, get characters like Frost and Darius back up there and get them to be more used in tournament play. That'll be cool to see. Maybe, if they're going to, if they're going to go back with the reversion, see if they revert back like Lao or Striker. Because I think Lao is still broken, potentially top 5 cameos still. Just having that low and being able to jump in, especially with like Sindel, she can kind of float in. It's just so crazy. It can lead to crazy armor breaks and just vortex. But we'll see if it gets reverted back, or if there's going to revert back Cyrus back again to his horizontal copter costing the full bar. But yeah, I don't know if there's any other characters. I mean, Ashra showed up. Ashra won LCQ with the exceptional Zeus had a pretty good Ashra. Macaron also played Ashra, but Zeus, Macaron, and Guy Exceptional all didn't make top 8. So I'm not sure. Ashra's probably fine. She seems like a good character, but a lot of people speculate that she's very straightforward. Maybe like with Chameleon, she kind of has some really broken stuff. But a lot of times you do have to win neutral. She has disjoint and she has good, her buttons are good, like 2-2 gels into a lot of cameos. So that's really really strong and has like somewhat mixed. So with like Chameleon, you can do like 2 Chameleon overhead stuff. It's unsafe, but you can get pretty good combo centers like 2-2-3 into the Psy and the new combo extend. So it's they definitely has some stuff, but I don't know if she's too strong. Garrus, 3 Garruses in top 13 at LCQ. I don't know. Garrus players may be hit on blast right now. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know if there's any other characters that are really worth mentioning. Reptile, only one in made it out of pools. 13th place. I don't know, man. I don't know if he should have been nerfed. I don't know. Maybe it'll get reverted back. Maybe that was an accident. I think it was, but we shall see. I think that's it for patch speculation. I'm not sure. Like I said, Frost, Darius, maybe Mataro gets a buff. Maybe they revert Lao and Striker back. Any characters that need buffs, I don't know. Maybe the ninjas, maybe Sub will get a buff. Maybe Havoc will finally get a buff. I mean, Wise did pretty good. Wise didn't make it out of his pool, but had showed some pretty strong stuff with Havoc. But yeah, we'll see how this next patch goes. I'm not sure if we're gonna get it when Pharaoh comes out. I think on the 25th or 26th, or if we're gonna get it sooner, like right away after Final Combat, like kind of how they did with ECT. Like after ECT ended, they immediately put out a patch. So we'll see, but it's been, this episode's been fun. We said we made it to 10. Thank you guys so much if you've been watching and supporting the Poseidcast or just my channel in general. If you haven't already, consider subbing to the channel. So I upload multiple times a week, just generally talk about what's going on. I have the top 100 coming up at the end of June. That's going to be a whole, thing to make. I have a team, so I'm going to get a little bit of help from them, and it should be fun to make that. But that's going to be coming up, and that's going to be a big thing. See who is ranked where in the top 100, and yeah, that's going to do it. I said, if you haven't, already considered liking and leaving a comment on the video, it really helps, get on the algorithm and helps get these podcasts out there more. I'm just, really, really passionate about Mortal Kombat and the FGC in general and the, esports thing in general. So, you know, supporting me is supporting the cause of, you know, growing the FGC and growing the esports community and growing Mortal Kombat 1 particularly. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys at the next video.